Hey there, it's Seb Fry here with another exciting episode of It's a Seb Show. My goodness, it has been so long since the last Seb Show. Was it in June? Was it in May? April? I don't know. It's been a very, very long time since I did a Seb Show. It had something to do with this whole pandemic thing, and then I got really busy with real estate and I just didn't have the time to put the Seb show together. Also, I had some technical difficulties here in the studio, which, what do you think of my much improved studio, huh? Do you like this backdrop behind me? I love it. All right, well, listen, here we are back to the Seb show after many months of not having an episode, and I know there were thousands of you out there like screaming and crying, Seb, please put together another episode of the Seb show. Well, here it is, another episode of the Seb show. And I've been thinking about what I was going to say my first episode back. Am I going to say something profound, about COVID or the election or Black Lives Matter or Proud Boys or something like that? No, I'm not going to talk about any of that. I got something much more important to talk about. I'm going to talk about the diminishing value of square footage. Yes, the diminishing value of square footage. Now, this is an interesting thing, this square footage, because if you watch Million Dollar Listing New York, which I always do whenever it's on, you'll see, oh, hey, this apartment is trading for this many dollars a square foot, right? Or this is the blended average of all the floors is this many dollars a square foot. And I've always thought it very peculiar that people place so much emphasis on the price per square foot, because there's actually a very important thing to understand about that, which is the diminishing value of the price per square foot, right? So if you compare a house that's 1,000 square feet and a house like three houses down, which is 2,000 square feet, are they going to have the same price per square foot? And the answer is no, they're not going to have the same price per square foot. The smaller house is almost for sure going to have a much, much higher price per square foot. Now, Seb, why is that? Well, that is because the dirt which it sits on has a lot of value, right? So both with the house that is 1,000 square feet and the house which is 2,000 square feet, if they have the same size lot, they probably have approximately the same lot value, right? So it could be that the lot is worth $500,000, right, on both properties, right? And then the improvements are worth only a certain amount of money on top of that, right? So it would be more interesting if you did price per square foot of improvements only, but you don't do that. You always include the land in the price per square foot. So let's look at this another way, right? Let's just say that you have a house that's for sale and it's only a 100 square foot house. That's a very, very small house, right? Only a 100 square foot house. And it's sitting in a desirable area, right? And then they're asking $500,000 for this 100 square foot house, right? So if you're paying $500,000 for a 100 square foot house, what are you paying per square foot? What is that? Is it $5,000 a square foot? Why, yes, I believe that is $5,000 a square foot if you're buying a 100 square foot house. Now, obviously, there is no such thing as a 100 square foot house. I've seen some very small houses though, which are like 350 square feet, right? And you'll see these, these surf shacks, maybe, right? I mean, like some very small property, and this surf shack could sell for $1 million, right? $1 million for a surf shack, right? The surf shack is $350. 350 square feet. So what does that mean? Does that mean they're paying 3,000 plus or approximately per square foot? Why, yes, they are, right? Even though the house next door could be a mansion, could be a really nice house, and it's only going for $1,000 a square foot, even though it's a much, much, much nicer home. It's because you're not factoring in the value of the land. So when you're running comparable property, analysis to find out how much you think a house is going to sell for, it's very important to always, as much as you can, get them to be in a very similar size, right? You want them to be within about 300 square feet is kind of what I use. I mean, it's better if you can get them to be within 5% or 10% of the same square footage, and also very, very similar lot sizes, because again, so much of what you're paying for when you buy a house around here, you're paying for the land, right? It's the land cost, which is so high. Around here, this is the greater San Francisco Bay Area, it's very common for the land cost to be 50 or 60% of the total purchase price. In many other places in these lovely United States, you'll find that the land cost might only be 10% of the whole entire purchase price, because land is abundant in many other places, but around here in the greater San Francisco Bay Area, land is very, very expensive, right? So when you are trying to figure out like how much your home is worth based on the square footage of someone else's house, make sure that when you're doing that comparison, you are comparing houses which are very similar size. If your house is 1,000 square feet, certainly the comparable should be no more than 1,300 square feet, and ideally 1,200 or 1,100, ideally within about 10%, but certainly no more than about 300 square feet, because once you do that, you start getting too many variances in the actual price per square foot. But if you do use comps that are all very similar in terms of lot size and square footage, you'll probably get pretty close to finding out what your actual sale price is. Now, that's going to vary, of course, depending on the age and the condition, right, and the amenities that the property offers, right? There could be certain other factors, right, why one property would be much, much more expensive on a price per square foot basis than another property. And that is a wonderful thing about real estate, right? Is that the market knows, right? Like, it's hard to fool the market, right? The market knows, right, that some properties are in much better condition than other properties, and they will pay a premium for that. And they will also give you demerit for not having your property in as good a condition as other similar properties in the area. So that's it for this episode of Seb Fry TV, or It's a Seb Show. I just wanted to talk about that, the diminishing value of price per square foot. The bigger the house, the lower the price per square foot is going to be. The smaller the house, the higher the price per square foot is going to be. And when you're comparing properties, make sure that they are as like for like as you possibly can get them. All right, that is it for this episode of It's a Seb Show. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, you know what? Now that I am back in business, got my technical issues worked out here, I'm going to be trying to get a lot more episodes out here fast and furious. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I'll have another episode up again before too long.